Welcome to episode one of the Arizto Spotlight. Today I'm really excited to bring this kind of spotlight podcast, YouTube style thing for you guys. And our first episode, we're talking to Kathryn. So, Kathryn, welcome. And
Hello, thank you.
for those of people in the company people watching who might not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey into real estate.
Okay. My name's Kathryn McAlonan. I am Rotorua based, which is in the North Island of New Zealand for anybody outside of the country. I am 42 years old, a single parent to one child, Christopher. I have been in the industry for around 3.5 years, and this is the second agency that I've worked with.
Cool.
Prior to that, I was in insurance. So I've kind of gone from one industry to another that's not overly liked, but yeah, I did 17 odd years in the insurance industry. Um,
Wow.
from like started a call center and went to loss adjusting. And
Wow.
my last role was actually in Christchurch with EQC,
All
which I
right.
did 8 years. So, all the earthquake stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, that must have been. Okay, cool. I'll talk. I'll come. Well, let's come back to a little bit of that. So you're based in Rotorua now, but you said you grew up in Hamilton until you're about 10. How do you think these different environments, possibly shaped your approach to real estate?
I don't know that the environments themselves did. Um, my childhood did a little bit, perhaps. I am quite an emotional person, and I've had an attachment, almost like an attachment to houses,
Okay.
um, for a long time. I remember leaving Hamilton um, when I was 9, and we were driving down the long driveway. House was going away, and I was beside myself. And it wasn't because I was leaving my friends; I was leaving my house.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems weird, sounds
No,
weird,
I can
but
imagine.
I've always been like that with houses. So wherever we've lived as a family, there's always been a lot of emotional connection.
Mm,
Um, and even with the houses I've bought and sold over the years, that's what shapes me, I think.
yeah. An
Yeah.
attachment to houses. That's really
I
cool.
know, it's
Like,
ridiculous.
no, no, and you know what? It makes sense because you've been if that's the first time you moved at 9 years old, it's a big deal.
Mm,
Whereas if I look at my childhood and my kids, I moved a lot, so it never, you know what I mean? So there's a
yeah,
very big I can yeah, I completely understand.
yeah, yeah.
You said before joining Aristo, you had a significant career at Bailey's. Yeah, what were some of the key lessons you learned there that you brought to Aristo?
Um, I learned a lot there. So that was the start of my career. And the manager that I worked with was phenomenal. I went to Bailey's because of her.
Hmm.
Um, so everything I learned, I brought across.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just everything that about me as a real estate agent came from me and my background, but also came from Bailey's. And I've just
Sure.
refined processes and things like that,
Yeah.
being with Aristo and growing a bit more as well in my confidence and expanding business.
Mm. Sometimes it actually makes a lot of sense for people to learn traditional real estate in an office environment before they come to Aristo because we don't have the office, we don't have the water cooler, so it makes a lot of sense. And that's why we don't tend to hire brand new agents, and we
Yeah,
hire
I
people who
agree.
have experience. So I completely understand.
Yes, I think it would be quite hard to come in almost impossible to come in as a new agent.
Yeah, yeah, we have
Yeah,
to, yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
And before that, you said you spent 17 years in insurance, mostly as a loss adjuster, and worked with
Or,
EQC. Uh,
yeah.
how did your experience in insurance prepare you for real estate?
Well, it's all customer service,
Mm,
isn't it? I started in insurance when I was 20, I think,
mhm.
and started at the bottom in a call center situation dealing with, I don't know, new business plus claims. Okay. And I ended up in claims full time and then going to assessing or loss adjusting from there. Um, and I guess the biggest learning for me came with dealing with claims. Um, when you are making an insurance claim, it's obviously never for a positive reason. You know, you're always dealing with a lot of negativity, a lot of, in a lot of instances, a lot of big life changes as well. Like big things have happened, and it ended up being that a lot of the claims I dealt with were big things where you had to build relationships and you had to be empathetic, and all the mushy stuff, I guess, that comes with dealing with a whole lot of emotion. That taught me well. And I did the same with EQC as well.
Because you're dealing with
Yeah.
people that have lost things, right? So they're going through it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's you know, with my direct, like working for insurance companies and working for EQC, I, for one reason or another, ended up looking after a lot of, or working with a lot of people that had lost lives,
Wow.
whole houses.
Mm.
It was big deal stuff. So it was really life-changing
Mm.
things for
Mm.
probably 12 odd years of that 17 years was
Mm.
spent constantly working with people in those situations. So I guess with real estate, it's not necessarily obviously a negative reason that they're selling, but it's still a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotion involved, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let's
Mm.
let's let's talk about some of the success that you've had, right?
Yes.
Over the last year, you've sold numerous property. I think it's maybe 21, 22 homes
Yeah,
in the
about that.
last,
Yep.
something like that. What do you
Yep.
think is the most important factor in achieving consistent sales success? And I know that you don't feel successful, all right,
No.
but you should celebrate it, in my opinion. But yeah, what do you think is a big factor in your success so far?
Um, One thing would be consistent marketing.
Mhm.
So sticking to a strategy. So I'm quite old fashioned. So my strategy is mailbox drops. And I promise it's not junk mail. You know, it's only once a month, and it's information about the suburb that it's going to, you know. But you have to be consistent. And so consistent in marketing means that I and talking to people, you know, people will contact me, but then I'm also consistent in my correspondence with them and consistent in how I approach them and deal with them every day. So I think consistency is a big thing
Mm.
for me,
Mhm.
but obviously it's spread out. It's consistency in behavior, it's consistency in performance, it's consistency in all aspects of everything,
Mm.
if that makes
Yeah,
any
no,
sense at all.
absolutely agree
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Definitely consistency is absolutely key. I mean, you've got to be consistent in your marketing and everything that you're doing. Otherwise, you can't just try something once and then expect it to work. I completely
No, but
understand what
it's
you
also
mean.
how you deal with people, isn't it? I
Mm.
mean, I can't, yeah, if I were doing my marketing really well, and so lots of people were coming to me to talk about listing their property, but I was then being, say, really approachable to one person and really not approachable, or my communication wasn't consistent between different people. People would hear about that.
Mm.
You know, people talk and
Mm.
they'd talk to other
Absolutely.
people, and it wouldn't, my business wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
absolutely. And so even though, you mentioned you kind of don't feel particularly successful, do
Mm-mm.
you have any, small victories or milestones that you're kind of proud of in your real estate career?
Well, yeah, so I'm particularly hard on myself, which is why I don't feel successful. And I know I should celebrate. And it's not that I don't, but I just want to do a lot more, I guess.
I'm like that too. Yeah.
But I think I can't remember how many I sold in the calendar year last year.
Mm.
But compared to what I'd been doing at my previous agency, whatever the number was that I sold last year, I made my target.
Mm.
Okay, and then I think I exceeded it by 3 or 4. So that was a big deal to me. That was the first time in my career I'd even met a target,
Yeah.
and that I had actually exceeded that target. So last year in particular was a big deal for me.
Awesome, awesome. And I think that
Yeah,
was your first full year with us, right?
was, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. You've described your experience at Aristo as kind of freeing compared to your previous working environment. Like, how has this newfound freedom influenced your work and life balance?
Oh, it's completely changed everything.
Yeah.
So where I was, just the brand had a different outlook to how you could work, to what you were allowed to do for marketing, for everything. It was just a more controlled environment, for lack of a better word, right now. And Aristo's just free. It's free. I mean, obviously we have branding guidelines and things like that, but you and the rest of the managers, the team, allow us to run our businesses however we want. So I wasn't allowed to do, I don't know, back of the bus advertising. I wasn't allowed to do letters like I do now. There were lots of things I wasn't, and that's probably not the experience for many other agents. I'm sure other agencies may also be a little bit more flexible. But for me, it's almost gone from one extreme to another.
Yeah.
And I've been able to run my own business how I want to.
Yeah.
Without anybody pulling my ideas to pieces. And that's what's freeing.
Awesome.
I guess when you can't do what you want to in your business, it drags your mood down. You take that home, and that drags home down, and it all just spirals out of control.
Yeah.
So to be free, it means that I'm more relaxed, I'm happier, and then I'm working from home as well, which is amazing in its own. And it just balances everything else out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as you know, I work from Sydney, so
yeah,
yeah. So I completely agree. What aspects of our process and our kind of the transaction process do you find particularly hassle-free, and how might this benefit your clients or you and your clients?
Pretty well everything, actually. Yeah, I really like not having paper.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like that I can meet with somebody, appraise the property, talk to them about the appraisal, and then just email an agency agreement, or it gets automatically sent to them. They start the listing process online, and they can do it in their own time. It means that I'm not having to make an appointment. It means they're not having to make an appointment. They just do it when it suits them. And that's the same it's exactly the same with a sale and purchase agreement as well. Isn't it? So, like I have in some of my new advertising that I don't have to knock at your door at 11 o'clock at night because we're trying to negotiate, and you can initial a change and you've already done 2 other changes that day. It's just that we negotiate, and then once everything's sorted and agreed, it comes electronically. You can send it off to your lawyer. It's just hassle-free. It really is. So the whole process is actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
But those 2 things in particular are big deals to me.
What would you say to someone who maybe's in Arizto that's just joined in the last kind of 6 to 9 months, and maybe they've done a few deals, but they've reverted back to using paper because they haven't given it a go or anything? What would you say to that person?
Why? Why would you do that? Look, it takes a little bit to get your head around. It does. Every stage of the process actually takes a bit of time to process because it is so different to what you're used to. But there are so many of us. I mean, 210 odd agents?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all doing it. Nobody's having any problems. There are no complaints. Why would you not use the system?
Yeah, I agree.
Well
said.
Just simple.
Yeah. No, I'm going to skip that question. And so, okay, let's lean more into any advice you might have. And so your advice to agents is to be consistent with marketing efforts. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Can you share an example of a marketing strategy that you found effective? I know you're doing a lot of letterbox drops. Can you talk a little bit more about that strategy without giving away the secret sauce?
Yeah. Well, it's you have to give information, like, what do we call it?
Providing value.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And that's what you need to do over and over and over again. For the most part, real estate is not the short game, it's the long game. Okay. And people need to get to know you before they'll even pick up the phone to call you or send a text, whatever it is they do these days. So add value to everything you do. There has to be some kind of value for the person who's pulling it out of their letterbox or clicking on an email, whatever it is. Value is important, and just consistent value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you have any other tips to any new agents who might be struggling to get kind of a footing in their industry? We talked about consistency, adding value. Any other personal gems that you might have?
Um, Something that I guess I was told when I first started, and I found it very hard to get my head around, and I think maybe only time changed that, so it might be a time thing for everybody, is firstly make sure you've got into the industry for the right reasons. So we obviously all work because we need to earn money. That's a given in any job. But if you have come into the industry purely for money, then I don't know that it's the right industry. You have to care about people as well.
Mm.
And you have to, I think, to start doing well, you have to stop thinking about the money.
Yeah.
It's not focusing on I need 5 listings. I've got to get 5 listings and that's it. It's I've got to work. I want these people to work with. I need to help these people. And I think you've got to change your mindset sometimes.
Mm.
If
Well
any of
said.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. It's almost like it's all, I always liken it to, I think there's a balance between, I think that you should have goals, right? And especially
Yeah.
if you want to perform, hey, I need to get 5 listings by the end of this date. But also at the same time, a balance between you don't want those people to think that you're just a numbers person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you don't care
Yes.
about their values as
Yeah.
people, and you're
Yeah.
just another number to you. Because and also being like commission breath, there's that saying of commission breath of just you're just trying to get the sale as opposed to helping the people. So this is just my personal opinion, is I would think there's a bit of a balance because some people
Yeah.
aren't as driven, so they kind of need to put goals in place of I need to do
Yeah,
this
this is
much
true.
work.
Yeah, you said that better than me. Yeah, yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. But also not to give up as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Just
not
keep
an easy
trying, right?
industry to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been through some significant career shifts and personal growth. How do you
Mm.
stay motivated and keep pushing forward even when things might get tough?
I don't always stay motivated.
Yeah.
That's just being real. Like we don't, it's yeah, I can't always be motivated. I have my downs, just like most people probably do. But I'm a single parent.
Mm.
I have no choice. Firstly, I have to keep going. But I also always want to do better.
Mm.
Like I always want to do better this month than I have last month.
Mm.
And that's what pushes me. It's
Mm.
just beating my own records or my own goals or achieving, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I agree too. And the same for other parents out there, you'll all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just do it. A lot of it is you just do it for your kids, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you have to. So,
Yeah.
mm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Do you have any
it's
hobbies? Do you have any things that you do in your personal time?
not personal time. Do you know anybody in real estate who has personal time? I have Saturday because we don't do open homes here on Saturday. We're only Sundays.
Right.
So not too many at the moment, to be honest. I have my son 95% of the time. So I don't have a lot of as a lot of parents don't. It's work, kids, work, kids.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
So,
enough.
yes. If I did have time, it would be picking up my camera again.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to do a bit of photography and that's my ideal world.
Oh, cool.
But one day.
You should schedule some time once a month just to go and take some photos or something,
Oh, I should. Yes, I should.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to that there you go. I was going to say to you, what are your future goals and how do you plan to achieve them? Why don't you do that in a month's time? Say, Martin, I took some photos.
Could do that. I'll put it in my diary. Yep.
Do you have any other goals that you might like to get to?
Work related or personal?
Anything?
Well, again, this will apply to a lot of us probably. Um, Fitness.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm a qualified personal trainer as well. Don't
Well,
look like it, don't
Jack,
feel like it.
Jack of all trades, eh?
Yeah, but but that's a time thing as well. Oh, it's a little bit of an excuse there. But I just need you to make time,
Hmm.
basically. So that is a goal, as it is for a lot of us.
Hmm.
But I've just got to actually do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then there's house goals, there's all sorts of other things, but
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kathryn, for being the first person to do one of these with me. I really appreciate your time. And for anybody out there wanting to know more about Kathryn, she's obviously on the website and is one of our Rotorua agents, one of our top agents in Rotorua. So thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.